The 2017 live-action adaptation of the classic 1995 anime Ghost in the Shell is a beautiful cyberpunk sci-fi spectacle that sticks a lot to the original source material and shows just how far ahead of its time its predecessor was. While at its heart, Ghost in the Shell is a hero in Scarlett Johansson as Major's origin story, it also has far more complex underlying themes like evolution, identity, and reality. For fans who haven't seen the anime, the easiest way to describe the film is like Blade Runner. You know, if Harrison Ford wore a skin-tight cyber suit. Anyway, and what people who watched Ghost in the Shell might have perceived as plot holes in what was attempted as letting the audience come to its own conclusion about certain elements, still leaves questions to be answered. So let's discuss those questions and all come to a general consensus, and keep in mind, everything you hear from here on out has major spoilers to Ghost in the Shell as well as the 1995 anime, so you've been warned. So here are the questions. Who exactly were Major and Kuze before they became their full-bodied cyborg selves? Did Kuze merge with Major's ghost like in the anime? And if so, what does that mean? And does this set up a Ghost in the Shell 2? So Ghost in the Shell plays with the theme of duality a lot. Like what's real and what isn't? What makes us human and what doesn't? And what's a white woman doing in a Japanese role? Okay, that last one I really don't care about. Anyway, one example of this is the constant glitches that Major sees that are revealed to be parts of her past, including an image of her cat from her childhood, as well as constantly seeing a house fire that was revealed to be the home to all the runaway kids in the area. And while it isn't said aloud by anybody who exactly Kuze and Major were to each other, it's heavily suggested just before the spider tank fight that Major remembers having one friend in that runaway kid's house she was very close to named Hideo. Anybody familiar with the anime will know that Hideo's last name is Kuze, thereby stating that Major and Kuze were both taken at the same time from this runaway kid's home that was attacked by Hanka Robotics, who used these kids as experiments in their Section 9 cyborg police force. Also evident when Major notices a tattoo on Kuze's chest of a house on fire when they first meet. But when they last meet before Kuze's ghost vanishes from his cyborg body, where did he go? In the anime, there's an extremely similar scene where Major lies next to a dying cyborg named the Puppet Master, but in this live-action version, it's Kuze who's been given a lot of the same character traits as the Puppet Master, most likely creating a lot of confusion with the diehard fans of the 1995 film. Basically, the characters of Kuze and the Puppet Master have been merged together in this live-action adaptation. Where Puppet Master was known as Project 2501 in the anime, Kuze is known as Project 2571. Where Kuze and Major were both in a plane crash in the anime that led them to being transferred into cyborg bodies, here they were both kidnapped by Hanka, experimented on, and then had their brains transferred into cyborg shells against their will. But in the anime, the Puppet Master merges with Major's ghost and they become one, where in the live action, Kuze basically transfers his ghost into the vast network that he has created for himself in order to get revenge on Hanka for their cruel corporate practices. The difference with this live action is that Major chooses not to merge with Kuze because she's not ready to leave Batou or the rest of her Section 9 crew behind. So if there is a sequel, we may see Kuze again, since he could upload his conscious into another shell, or he could just hack his way in, although it's unlikely and also far too early to tell. As far as a possible sequel to Ghost in the Shell, director Rupert Saunders did not dispel the possibility of a sequel, saying that if people like it, then we have to make another one. Only question is, where do we go from here? So he's not the planning things out ahead of time kind of director, but there's still certainly a possibility. Other hacker antagonists like the Laughing Man from the anime, for example, would certainly fit into this timeline and would still resonate with the viewing audience, even though the Laughing Man's story arc came before the 95 anime and the standalone complex story arc. But with all the backlash the film has and will perceive for being accused as another example of Hollywood whitewashing, it's hard to see Paramount Pictures getting another sequel off the ground if they want to save face with the public. I mean, in my opinion, I don't really care. The film visually is superb, but for people who will compare it to the anime, yes, it does a lot of fan service, but will lose viewers with the drastic character changes and the complex story. If Ghost in the Shell has one lesson, it's whether you're cyborg, Japanese, white, or anything else, it doesn't matter. One day we're all going to be so cybernetically enhanced that race won't even be an issue. And that's everything I have for the ending explained of Ghost in the Shell. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe below, and tell me your thoughts on the film. Also be sure to comment whether you were bothered by the Caucasian character castings in the film, and how do you think this movie stacks up against its animated predecessor, and whether or not you think the film would have been better or worse if it had gone for an R rating instead of PG-13. And don't forget, as always, this is 5 Fingers Explains Everything with the Fingerbang Show. I'm out.